Hey everybody. Okay, so last week, I believe it was Thursday, I was reading an article by Trig Wilson of the Hockey Writers. Trig is a guy I follow on Twitter, and he follows me back. We've had a few interactions. He seems like a really nice guy, and he's a good writer. And I liked it. I was intrigued by his idea, and I thought I'd kind of give my version of it here. And we're going to take a look at the matchup that is potentially going to happen between the Montreal Canadiens and the Pittsburgh Penguins in the qualifying round when the NHL restarts play, when they return to play, if it actually comes to happen. So I think on the surface, you would look at this matchup. A lot of people think it's kind of favoring the Penguins, and as Habs fans, I know a lot of Habs fans really think it's favoring Montreal, but I think there's a few things that are going on that might change the balance of the scales, so we're going to take a look at it. We're going to break down offense, defense, special teams, goaltending, and depth. And we'll try to come up with a score on those 5 things and see who might have the advantage here. So we'll get right to it. And we'll look at offense first. The offense for Montreal, hang on a second, I forgot some lights. I'm going to put them on. Now, I think offense last season for both teams was inconsistent in that for Montreal, it was inconsistent after the injuries to Byron, well, mostly to Drouin. And at points, they would score, and at points, they couldn't score. Now, for Pittsburgh, I think the offense at points were not there because you had Crosby out at some points. I think Malkin was injured. Jake Gensel. They had to overcome a lot of injuries, and I think at some points maybe their offense was a little inconsistent for that reason. But they managed to win and through all their injuries, and where Montreal didn't, and that's probably the difference. So now the teams that they do play, they're both going to be healthy. The only Habs player that I know of that isn't confirmed whether he's going to play is Victor Mete. I know a lot of people are asking about Jesperi Kotkaniemi, but don't expect Kotkaniemi in this series at all or the playoffs at all. I believe he's still recovering from his spleen injury, so he's out. The question mark on Montreal, besides Mete, is Max Domi, and we're going to talk about that a little later. So right now we're the offense. So the Habs, well, we're going to talk about it right now, I guess. I know it's a little small, the writing. I apologize. There's a lot of stuff to put on board. They have holes in the lineup due to Domi's absence. Now, I wrote it that way, Domi's absence, because I really don't believe Max Domi will play. I believe there will be players spread out throughout the league that are not going to there's players that aren't going to want to play under these conditions, and there's players that have underlying conditions like Domi's diabetes. Capo has the same thing. We just found out that, I don't know his first name, Strawman. It's just leaving me what team, where he has some kind of a bronchial or lung problem, which is an underlying condition, and he's questioning the safety for him to play. So there are going to be players that are out. I think Domi is definitely going to be one of those. The trade deadline trades are going to affect their offense. And they were inconsistent with scoring all season. They started out great the first 19 games, then the injury bug hit. And they were inconsistent from that point on, I think. Suzuki's still a rookie. As much as I love the guy and everything, we don't know how he's going to react or how he'll play in a playoff series. And although this isn't a playoff series, but it's a play-in, it's still a series to get into the playoffs, so it's close. And we don't know how he'll react after the layoff and everything coming back, so maybe he'll be better, and maybe he won't react well. This is not every great player or a good offensive player during the season is a good playoff performer, and I think you can look at Steve Stamkos for that, because I do believe Stamkos, while a great player during the regular season, has not been consistent in the playoffs through his career. Which Drouin will show up? Jonathan Drouin has been announced. He's ready to play. He'll be playing if they do come back to play. But what Drouin will we see? Will we see the guy that we got the first 19 games before the injury? Are we going to get the guy that came back from injury and played the season before and the season before that? Is that the guy we're going to get? Hopefully we'll get the first version of him. So that's a question mark for the offense. On the Penn side, let's face it, they got Crosby and Malkin. That's potent. And they'll have the return of Jake Gensel. He'll be coming back. Great winger for Crosby. And the addition of Jason Zucker for these playoffs. So they've really improved, I think, on their forward lines. You've got at least one good line. Whether you line up Gensel and Zucker on Malkin's line or on Crosby's line, you're looking at one solid line, and the other one's not going to be bad either. So that's going to be a big, I think, a big advantage for Pittsburgh, obviously. Injuries kept their scoring down. You have to figure that if the Penguins' numbers, which aren't exponentially greater than Montreal for offense, but you have to figure with their injury problems that had to have kept some of their scoring down, and they still managed to win. They are stronger down the middle than Montreal. Center-wise, especially if Domi doesn't play. If Domi plays, it evens it up a little bit. But if Domi doesn't play, just think of it. You've got Phil Deneau and Suzuki as 1, 2. Don't know who 3 is going to be. Right now, Jake Evans is sitting in the fourth-line center. The Penguins with Malkin and Crosby, they're definitely stronger down the middle than Montreal is right now. So that's got to bode well for them. And they do have they do have a potent offense when healthy. Definitely, the Penguins can really score. Now, Montreal's offense can be potent. We saw that at the beginning of the season, but we don't know, right? It's not like a proven thing over the years where Malkin and Crosby are proven, right? And Domi not having the season that Domi had the year before, and might not even be there. So, goals per game for 60 minutes, so goals per 60 minutes. Montreal's at 2.54, and Penguins just slightly ahead at 2.70, which is a surprise. But again, I would have to think that the injuries had a big, played a big role in that. So it's an edge to Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh gets the first. They have the edge in the offense. Defense. Inconsistent all season. That's Montreal we're talking about now. Their defense has been inconsistent all season, that's for sure. Missing a piece in the top 4 because now Scandella's not here. When we got Scandella, that really solidified some of the top 4. He wasn't maybe the ideal top 4 defenseman, but he was better than what Montreal had or the guys that were playing in that role. And then now Scandella is gone. Can Kulak be as good as Scandella? Kulak really, at the beginning of the season, just didn't have it. Played a lot better after Scandella was traded. I'll give him that. But after this layoff, will he come back and be the guy that was at the beginning of the season or the guy that we saw after Scandella left? We don't know. The Penguins, they're a little thin on defense. I mean, of course, you got Chris Letang. You've got the emergence of John Marino starting to happen. Will Letang hold up? Letang gets injured a lot. He's a little bit fragile. Will he hold up? One thing for sure is he's a talent. That's for sure. Top 2 defenseman. He's their number 1 guy. That's for sure. He's a Montrealer, so he's going to be. I think he's always super motivated when playing Montreal and when playing in Montreal, especially. So that's you think that's a advantage for Pittsburgh. Now, both teams lack depth defensively. That's true. Both teams do lack depth defensively. And their goals against per 60 minutes, 2.45 for Montreal, 2.47 for Pittsburgh. So virtually the same. I mean, that's virtually the same. I think I'm in agreement with Trig here that it's a slight edge. It's not a huge edge to Montreal, but I think with you have Petrie and Weber, I think you got a lot more experience in Montreal as far as on defense, and I think that gives them a slight edge here. So it's 1 edge to Pittsburgh, 1 edge to Montreal. I'll spin around. We'll look at special teams. Habs special teams, inconsistent all year. And they were very inconsistent. Power play was good early, then fell flat towards the end. And at home, power play sucked. On the road, their power play was pretty good. But because of the fact that the power play really sucked at home in the second half, it really brought it down big time. PK, slow start at the beginning. They were at the bottom. I think at one point they were 31st, a total opposite of the season before. on PK. And they picked it up once the new year started. So, and I believe once January 1st hit, their PK was amongst the best. At some points, I think the best PK in the league. So it was just up and down season for both PK and power play. And just a totally reverse. They could never get both going at the same time in the same game. Rarely was the power play successful and the PK was successful. Two pieces missing now, and that is in Covey on the power play. Now we're talking. Kovalchuk is gone, and Nick Cousins. Now you can laugh when I say Nick Cousins, but Nick Cousins played the power play a lot, and he wasn't that bad. He got key goals here and there, and he's not there now, and they don't really have anybody even right now to replace him, I don't think. So we'll have to see how that works out. For Montreal, I think it's going to be a problem with those two guys gone. Scandella was helping the penalty kill. One of the reasons I think that the Habs penalty kill started to really come back and be strong was they acquired Scandella, and Scandella really did help solidify that top four a bit and bring up that defense. And the PK did get better. Their power play goals for 60 minutes, 5.99, and on the PK goals against for 60 minutes, 7.59. We'll compare them here. The Penguins, 16th place place, 16th place. Say that 10 times fast. Power play and a 10th place PK. So Montreal's power play was 22nd place by the time the season ended, and 19th place on the penalty kills. So for the penalty kill, came up from at one point they were 31st, and then at one point I believe now that the power play was 12th, and they dropped all the way back to 22nd. So, just total opposites on those two things. So they're inconsistent on special teams there. Yes, I'm back again. Penguins, power play goals for 60 minutes, 7.26, so that's a lot better, by almost a goal and a half than Montreal. And on the PK, goals against for 60 minutes, 6.50, which is almost a full goal better than Montreal's. So consistency will give the Penguins the edge here. If the Penguins can be consistent while not being the best at either, if they can be consistent, they will have an edge, I think, on Montreal, who we don't know what's going to happen. Let's hope if they do come back that Montreal's special teams just both are on at the same time. So, yeah, that's for later. So I'm giving an edge here to special teams to the Penguins. Obviously, their numbers are better. Their consistency is better. They get the edge there. Goaltending, that's an easy one. Mostly. Carey Price. Montreal has Carey Price. If Carey Price is on his game, Carey Price is fully capable of stealing, if not all three wins that Montreal needs against Pittsburgh, but at least two of them. One for sure. He's fully capable of stealing the series if he's on his game. So that's a big advantage for Montreal. His numbers are 2.59 goals against this is playoff numbers. 2.59 goals against and a 914 save percentage in his career. And those are really good numbers. They're not the best, but they're really solid, consistent numbers. He can steal games. He's experienced, and right now he's coming in rested and healthy. And I can't say I remember the last time Carey Price was able to go into a playoff situation, even though it's a qualifying round, not the playoffs yet. It's still a playoff situation where you can go into that season the playoff season and be healthy and rested. It's usually not one of the other. He may come in healthy, but he's played a lot of games. He may come in rested, but it's because he wasn't healthy. So, this is a good situation for Montreal. So that's a really good. Now, on the Penguins side, you had Tristan Jarry, who had the better numbers during the season. He had, I don't remember exactly, he was at over 900, like somewhere around 920 save percentage. And whereas Matt Murray had an 8.99, I know his goals against were better than Murray's as well. Murray is the more experienced goalie. He's won a cup with Pittsburgh, if not more than one. He won their cup. He was the goalie in 2017 when they won their last cup. So he's got the experience, but with the rest and the I mean, he wasn't injured, but with the rest that he's had, does that mean that you go with him hoping that he bounces back from the poor season, or do you give it a shot to Tristan Jarry, who doesn't have the experience at all? I don't think Jarry's played one playoff game in the NHL, so there's no experience on that side, but he had a really good season leading up. So can Jarry be successful in the playoffs, and can Murray bounce back? So you might have a situation where, you put Jarry, say you start him, doesn't do that great, you put in Murray, Murray struggles, and then you're kind of finished. Whereas for the Canadiens, if Carey Price struggles, it's over too, right? If Price struggles, I mean, you have Caden Primo, rookie, totally unproven. You don't know where that's going to go. So you need a Carey Price who's playing a strong game. He's on his game, and you have a shot here for that. So advantage definitely goes to Montreal when it comes to goaltending. Depth, Habs. As soon as injuries hit, big losing streaks became a norm. So they had that 8-game losing streak, a 5-game losing streak, and an 8-game losing streak. They lost all their games to Detroit. They lost. They just lost to when they shouldn't have, and those huge losing streaks, and that all hit when those injuries came, and that really exposed Montreal's lack of depth. The trade deadline trades making depth a bigger problem. So now you have a team that really is struggling with the depth, and you took off 4 players that made really good contributions to the team at various points during the season, and that creates a bigger problem. Now, if Alex Romanov can play, we're still undecided, we don't know, that could really help. He could really make up for the losing of Scandella, and so that's a big help if Romanov can play, but it's a big question mark. We'll have to have guys step up. So Montreal will have to have guys step up, especially if Max Domi cannot play. They're going to have to find somebody to slot into that third line center, and somebody's going to have to step up and play good. And everybody in the surrounding cast is going to have to pick their games up if Montreal's going to be successful here against Pittsburgh. On the Penguins side, injuries all season, and they were still able to win. So there's a reason for that. Montreal, injuries all season, not able to be consistently winning. They also added, I'm missing letters on people's names. They also added Jason Zucker at the trade deadline, which is a huge thing because now you have bigger options. You got Gensel back, and you've got another winger on the other side. So either maybe you can mix and match them on Crosby or Malkin, or you can play them with one of those wingers or centers and make a consistent line. But it makes a big difference, and it really helps on their depth because if they got to that trade deadline where they were going to be buyers, that they played well enough with all those injuries, then adding a guy like that really improves their depth. They traded Alex Galchenyuk. That's a good thing. I mean, that's really a good thing because Galchenyuk, like everywhere he's played, except when he first started here in Montreal, struggled. And they got that monkey off their back, and in return got Jason Zucker, who's really going to, I think, do good things in Pittsburgh, and that's a really good thing. Defenseman John Marino, he's a young kid, I believe he's a rookie, and he came up and had to fill in because of injuries and did really well, and looks like a really good piece on that blue line for them, and that's really helped their depth, helped them to win while they were having all these injuries. So that's it's a big thing. They have confidence in their ability to handle injuries. You can't say that after that season. They can't be like if a guy gets hurt, well, they know there's guys that can pick it up from there, right? Montreal doesn't really have that because that didn't happen for Montreal. So that's going to make a big difference. And so I believe that's going to give the Penguins a huge advantage just in the depth. And I think the depth might be the big difference here. I think if it's going to be Montreal that's going to win, it's because of goaltending. And that's going to be the big difference. And I think if Pittsburgh wins, it's going to be offense and their depth that are going to be the big differences. So there you go. I think if you add that up, it's going to be finish up. And it might finish up this way as far as games go, too, because it's going to finish up 2 for Montreal, 3 for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh could win by, I think this might happen. I think it might be 3-2 series win for Pittsburgh. So as far as advantages on those 5 subjects, Pittsburgh has advantage in 3, Montreal in 2. And there you go. That's my look at this series, this matchup, and who might have the advantages if the Montreal Canadiens do actually play Pittsburgh Penguins. And by that I just mean that if they do play, if the NHL returns to play. Okay, so I guess I've babbled enough about this. There you go. That's my video. Give a thumbs up if you liked it. While you're down there to do that, hopefully you'll do that. Leave me any comments about this in the comment section, which is down there. What you think of my ideas. If you have anything to add to that, if you have anything, any different reason to think Montreal actually has a bigger advantage here, let me know in the comment section. I'm really curious to hear what you guys say. And while you're down there, if you haven't subscribed already, you can do that there. Subscribe, ring the notifications bell. It's going to get you your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge right here at Talkin' Habs. So thanks everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. Please stay safe out there. For the American viewers, please stay safe out there. I don't really want to get into all that right now. It's just please stay safe. And thanks for watching. Peace out. Have a great day, and see you next video.